Hey, nurse leader. We all know how important communication is, and it's one of the most challenging things to accomplish as a leader. We often hear in our employee satisfaction surveys and our feedback from our patients that the communication was poor, the communication needs to be better. Well, today I want to give you kind of the 3 points that I use for really improving communication with the team, some of the tips, tricks that I've learned over the course of time, and I hope that they'll serve you. So, the very first one is to have a consistent cadence of communication. So, what does this mean? To have a huddle, and you probably huddle in the morning with your teams, but be sure that you have a regular cadence of huddles. So, if you're leading your frontline staff, that would be your daily huddle. But if you're a leader of leaders, you need to have a separate huddle. Now, to me, an effective huddle is one that lasts 7 minutes or less. Anything longer than that is a short meeting. And so if your huddles are 15, 20, 30 minutes, that's a meeting. Let's call it what it is. But a huddle is just a quick touch base. So have a set time. So some of the things that I do is I'm an early riser. I get to work really, really early. And the leaders that report to me know that I'm in the building by a few minutes after 6. They also know that I don't schedule any meetings before 7 o'clock. And so that's free walk-in time. Maybe they have to come in a little bit earlier, but they know that they can catch time with me. So that's kind of open office hours. I also have an open office hour again between 8 and 8:30 where they can walk things on to me. So just having those set communications. And then we huddle again really briefly at 9 o'clock to talk about any safety events that have maybe come up. So that's right after our daily safety huddle. So we have a consistent cadence of communication. If you get really good at this, you'll find that you can reduce emails, you can reduce text messages, you can reduce all of that noise of communication. And your team will know how and when they can touch base with you. And so they won't always be looking for you, or important things that they need to talk about won't go unsaid. So the second one that I want to talk about is developing a communication matrix. It's kind of a step off of the first one. So I've had a crystal clear communication matrix for the last 10 years that I've been a leader of leaders. And what this looks like is I have a very defined list of what things should be emailed to me, what things should be sent to me via text, what things are a phone call, what things are routine meetings. And so that might sound a little controlling. I'll tell you, it's actually very freeing for both myself and my team. As I've moved across a couple of organizations, one of the things that the leaders say was the best thing was communication and the communication matrix. And they always say, be sure to tell your future teams to use a communication matrix. So text messaging is the best way for just routine things to be sent. Phone calls, I generally don't answer phone calls because I'm usually in a meeting or having a one-on-one with someone. So I really don't take phone calls. But here's the emergency. What's the break the glass in case of emergency? How does someone get a hold of you in the event that something's really, really important? We know email's not good for that. We know text messaging isn't always good for that. And phone calls would be the best way, but generally I don't answer the phone calls. So we've built kind of this emergency system. If you call me, I will generally decline your phone call and you can leave me a voicemail if that's it. But if you immediately call me back, so 2 phone calls in a row is the break the glass. I take all of the phone calls that are 2 in a row. So that's how the team knows that there's an emergent situation that I need to get in front of you right away, or I need your help with, or something's melting down, or there's been a disaster, or on the verge of a disaster. That's 2 phone calls. So that works. That works essentially all hours of the day. Now you have to define your own little matrix. I've really only had 2 double phone calls in the last 10 years. And trust me, I'll spare you the details. They both were worth double phone calls. But most of the routine communication is text message. People also know that if I don't text you back within a couple of hours, you may just need to resend that text to the top. Now, be like, man, Corey, don't you get a lot of text messages? I do, but I can handle them in the flow of the day. That's something that I can do in between meetings, or if I get to a meeting and it just hasn't started yet, that's really the best way to do it. So have a crystal clear defined communication matrix for your team. Texting, phone calls, emails, one-on-one meetings, and make sure they do that. So what do you do if someone uses the wrong method? Well, you don't bring it up at the beginning of the conversation. So if somebody maybe does email for something that should be a text message, or sends you a text for something that should be an email, go ahead and answer their question, solve their problem, give them the feedback they need, and then just redirect them. Hey, next time this would be better off as an email, or next time this would be better off as a text message. And people generally aren't bristled by that because you've provided them the matrix, and you're also providing them a little micro training on which way to do that. This has been highly effective. Teams feel that they always have access to me, that I can also be highly responsive, both of which brings high satisfaction to both parties. All right, the third thing that I want to teach you about communication is what I call 50 First Dates versus Groundhog Day. Now, I'm making the assumption that you've seen both of these great movies. If you haven't seen these movies, then I would encourage you to take this weekend, take this week, take a night and watch them both. They're both great movies, but to me, it was watching both of those movies a long time ago, over a decade ago, that I thought, there's some valuable leadership lessons in here, and particularly around communication. So if we look at the difference between these two movies, in 50 First Dates, Adam Sandler's character really lives the same day over and over trying to get Drew Barrymore's character to fall in love with them again because she has short-term memory loss. And so he has to every day make her fall back in love. And he does that with no loss of enthusiasm. Every day he's fully engaged in making that happen, and nearly every day he's successful. Now, if we contrast that to Bill Murray's character in Groundhog Day, who also has the same day over and over, he gets mean, self-harm, self-loathing. It takes him a long time to figure out that he needs to maintain positivity. And so how does this relate to communication? Well, if you're a leader, sometimes you've delivered the message in a huddle, in person, in a newsletter, one-on-one, and you still have someone who says, I didn't know that. And your job is to be sure that you're Adam Sandler's character and not Bill Murray's character. That you don't get short, curt, curb the message, that you deliver with the same amount of passion and enthusiasm as you did the first time. So that's your goal as a leader: more Adam Sandler, less Bill Murray. I hope these lessons will help you in how you communicate with your team. Nurse leader, have a great day. You got this.